Are you serious? Are you serious? Russia just blown the dam. Whoa, what are they doing? Okay, guys. Well, it's getting ugly. It is getting ugly. Let me tell you all about it just a second. But first, let's put a shout out right now for www.noblegoldinvestment.com. That's www.noblegoldinvestment.com. The reign in wealth like King Charles with a gold IRA from Noble Gold Investments. Just as King Charles' magnificent golden crown symbolized the wealth and power, a gold IRA can fortify your own financial kingdom. Imagine the confidence that comes from a retirement backed by a tangible, proven asset like gold. As assets that's not at the mercy of the unpredictable, unstable market. And the crown may not be included, but it isn't a future free of financial stress worth the chance. Well, like royalty, enjoy the luxury of choice. You can choose between a gold, silver, platinum, or palladium. The realm is yours to command. Fend off concerns about economic downturns and let your money be protected with the timeless security of precious metals like gold. This month, for the first solid 1/4 of an ounce, gold standard bullion coin, first one ever minted with King Charles III image, can be yours. This collector's item for free if you sign up for a gold or silver IRA or a 401k rollover of $50,000 or more. You can't go wrong with noblegoldinvestments.com. That's www.noblegoldinvestments.com, or pick up the phone and call them at 877-646-5347. That's 877-646-5347, and tell them that Pastor Paul Begley sent you there. All right. Well, guys, it is getting crazy, to say the least. All right. Absolutely crazy out there. And I would like to share some of that with you, because what I'm finding out is craziness is part of life. It really, really is. There is an incredible situation developing in this webinar coming up this Friday. You don't want to miss it. Get your tickets right now for this. Get the special bundle. Go now to our website at paulbegleyprophecy.com. That's www.paulbegleyprophecy.com, and get the Supernatural Intelligence webinar. Get that bundle ticket. Be ready for what's going to be one of the most powerful, if not the most informative, powerful, and we're doing it part live in 2 locations. This webinar takes 2 weekends to get it in, and we for the price of one, we are doing our very best to make this so reasonable. Get the bundle ticket, Supernatural Intelligence webinar, at www.paulbegleyprophecy.com. You'll see L.A. Marzulli, Trail of the Nephilim, UFOs, New Age movement, Mr. Yazzie, Navajo skinwalkers, Mike from around the world with 4 different times. Mike has 2 1-hour presentations, and 2 times he's on a panel taking this questions from the audience. This is incredible what we're going to cover in one of the most spectacular webinars of ever assembled on supernatural intelligence. Find out all about it at our website at paulbegleyprophecy.com. And who is Mike from around the world? Well, you might find out more about him in this webinar. Just saying, pay attention to the things that are being said. You might find out more about him. Now, here's what I do know. We have an incredible broadcast for you this morning. And it is, we're ready to hit it. We're going to start with Russia blows the dam. What are they doing? What were they thinking? But a collapse of a major dam in southern Ukraine. You're looking at it right there. You're looking at it right there. That's an incredible, insane. What are you doing, Vladimir Putin? But the collapse of this major dam in southern Ukraine has triggered emergency as Moscow and Kiev are at war. The wall of a major dam in southern Ukraine collapsed this morning, triggering floods, enormous floods, endangering Europe's largest nuclear power plant and threatening the drinking water supply. At both sides in the war scramble to evacuate the residents and blame each other for the destruction of the dam. Ukraine accuses Russia forces of blowing up the dam at the Pkwy Dam. It's a hydroelectric power station on the Dnepr River in an area that Moscow controls, while Russian officials blame Ukrainian bombardment in the contested area. It was not possible. Look, Ukraine doesn't want to blow up their own dam. They don't want to destroy their own farmland and villages. I mean, just think this through, guys. And the potential is far-reaching environmental and social consequences of the disaster quickly becomes clear as homes, streets, businesses are flooded downstream, and emergency crews have begun the evacuation of homes and people. Officials have raced to check the cooling systems at the nuclear power plant that's nearby. The authorities have expressed concern about supplies of drinking water to the south in Crimea, which Russia illegally annexed from Ukraine in 2014. So both Russia and Ukraine authorities have brought in trains and buses for their own residents. About 22,000 people live in the area at risk of flooding in Russian controlled areas, while 16,000 people live on the other side of the border in the critical zone, are Ukrainian held territory. According to official tallies, neither side is reporting if there's any death or injuries yet, but the dam break added a stunning new dimension to Russia's war in Ukraine. Now it's in its 16th month. Ukrainian forces were widely seen to be moving forward with a long anticipated counteroffensive in patches along more than 1,000 kilometers or 621 miles of the border of the front line in the east and southern portions of Ukraine. It is not immediately clear whether either side will benefit from the damage of this dam, but I doubt it because of the destruction to the farmland and some of the other, and also the potential destruction of the nuclear plant. Okay, Russia-controlled Ukrainian-held lands are at risk. I mean, think about it. The damage could also hinder Ukraine's counteroffensive in the south and distract its government, while Russia depends on the dam to supply water to Crimea. And although Kiev officials claim Russia blew up the dam to hinder the counteroffensive that they're taking place, observers note that crossing the broad Dnepr would be extremely challenging for the Ukrainian military. Other sectors of the front line are more likely avenues of attack. So even so, Nigel Davies, a senior fellow for Russia and Eurasia at the International Institute for Strategic Studies, said that the alleged Russian destruction of the dam betrays a lack of confidence, a profoundly defensive measure, the lack of confidence in Russia's long-term perspective in the war. And that's exactly what I believe has happened. Russia is seeing its potential victory slipping through its fingers. Ukraine has been getting better and better equipment from NATO, which in my opinion is causing this incredible surge of Ukrainian confidence. As my son Brock told me earlier last night, he said, "Dad, you have to understand the weapons that the Ukrainians are using now." He said, "I trained on those. I know what those are. Brock, of course, fought in Afghanistan in 2014 in Kandahar province, and then he went to Germany where he was stationed and trained with the Germans, excuse me. And he said there is where this equipment that now that the Ukrainians are using, the same tanks, the missile launchers, the training of the pilots for the F-16 fighter jets, the long-range sophisticated missile system, all of this is what they've been training the last year. Been training a lot of Ukrainian troops for to use, and now they're implementing it, and now it's working, and now the pushback is on, and the counteroffensive is on, and Russia is acting almost. They're stunned. They thought they would have already had Ukraine under their control by now. Instead, they see parts that they had captured starting to slip away. They are now being attacked by the Ukrainians in their own land, all the way into Moscow. They're feeling maybe like this thing could be slipping away. And it's almost like the reaction by blowing up the dam is and threatening the nuclear plant is kind of Russia's way of saying, you know, if we can't have it, no one will. We'll just destroy the infrastructure. We'll blow up the dam. We'll blow up the nuclear facility. We'll spread radiation. We'll ruin the soil. We'll devastate the area. If we can't have it, no one will. And that could be now the new strategy, or at least they're sending that message with this breaking of this dam. It is an extremely strange thing. Now, I was just on, and you could see it today at 2:00 on Larry Ragland TV, or go to YouTube channel, The Big Picture with Larry Ragland. He interviewed me this morning. I'm on his show. We discuss a lot of these key things, including this dam. This is very, very dangerous. Now, let's say Ukraine was the one that did it. Let's ask ourselves that question, because that's what we're seeing. We're going to see this propaganda war. Did Russia blow up the dam? Did Ukraine blow up the dam? Well, think about it. Russia, if they blew up the dam, of course, it inflicts a lot of environmental damage to the area. You wouldn't do that if you're Russia, because you're trying to take this land. Unless you see the land, you see the victory, you see the possibility that you're never going to get it anyway, slipping away. Then that becomes your strategy to get Ukraine to back down on their counteroffensive on Russia. Let's take it the other side. Maybe Ukraine did it. Maybe NATO did it for Ukraine to create this. This is where the Russians, the Crimean peninsula down there, this is where the water flows down there for the drinking water and what have you. By blowing up the dam, you now cause a severe hardship coming upon the Crimean people, which is under the control of Russia. So, why would Russia do that? Why Ukraine may have done that. But then again, why would Ukraine want to destroy their own farmland and area and put a threat to their own nuclear facilities? So you could see how both sides could have a reason to do it, and both sides have a reason not to do it. But obviously, the information we're getting is that it was done by Russia. I don't know. I'll be honest with you, we don't know. But everybody should get some coffee, and I'm going to drink some Canadian coffee. Actually, I'm drinking my own coffee on a Canadian cup. Are you serious, brand? You can get it at my website at paulbegleyprophecy.com. This is a very, very strange thing taking place here in the war. But I think the most important part is that all indications are, yes, the Ukrainians could have done it. Yes, NATO could have done it with them. But why would you destroy your own homeland? And so it's more likely Russia did it. But then again, why would they want to cut off their own water supply to the people that they control in Crimea, which they took Crimea illegally? So that's another thing to remember. So it's all going on right now. It's a strange war. It's a dangerous war because nobody wins in this war. And so our prayers are going that it ends. But when I seen this morning, that this dam was broke loose, I knew right then this war is going to really now escalate. This is a huge, huge infrastructure devastation. Devastation is what has just happened in this situation. Speaking of devastation, you should see what's going on with China. And this is crazy. So give me one moment here. And I'm going to try to find that. Give me 1 second. Where did that one go? Here it is. Big time news here. China's defense minister has now threatened to attack Taiwan without any hesitation. What? And that's exactly what without any hesitation. Chinese defense minister said this morning threatens to attack Taiwan without any hesitation. The Chinese National Defense Minister Li Shangfu, making his debut on the international stage, told attendees at the Shangri-La Dialogue in Singapore that the communist nation's military would attack without any hesitation against any allies of Taiwan, seeking to support the nation's independence from Beijing. This is worse. He didn't just threaten to attack Taiwan. He threatened to attack any of Taiwan's allies. Now, Li spent most of his address at the event at the annual platform for the world's most powerful military leaders to discuss the future of the national defense, promoting the Communist Party's Global Security Initiative, a proposal by genocidal director Xi Jinping, the president of China, discouraging countries from acting in the interest of their own defense and instead proposing undefined win-win cooperation. Li insisted China was a pioneer in world peace, yet repeatedly condemned the United States without naming America as a force for hegemony and self-serving crusade forming. Li also pressured America to no longer maintain a presence in the South China Sea, where China illegally now claims as their territory, even the international waters, which belongs to Taiwan, Brunei, Malaysia, Vietnam, the Philippines, the Koreans, Indonesia, Micronesia, Japan. Are you serious? China, you can't own all this. It's not yours. And yet they say, but we are the leaders in the peace movement, while they're trying to literally seize the entire South China Sea. Today, what Asia Pacific needs are big pies of open and inclusive cooperation, not small cliches that are self-serving and exclusive. That's what China's state-run broadcaster quoted Li saying at the conference. China is ready to work with all other parties to build stronger security and confidence-building systems, promote more equitable security rules, improve multilateral security mechanisms, and carry out more effective defense and security cooperation. Yet they threaten to take it all from everybody, yet say they're working toward peace and harmony. China calls for mutual respect, which should prevail over the bullying and the hegemony. And fairness and justice should transcend the law of the jungle, eliminating conflicts and confrontation through mutual trust and consultation, and preventing block conformation with openness and inclusiveness. They really talk a good game, but do the opposite. This is the communist way. Matter of fact, Li claimed that American freedom of navigation exercises in the South China Sea, in which the U.S. Navy sails in international waters, as a sign of rejection of China's illegal claims, were in reality a hegemony of navigation. exercises in an attempt to muddy the waters to rake in profits. Without elaborating, he urged neighbors to firmly reject freedom of navigation exercises in the South China Sea. Li then proceeded to address Taiwan, threatening to attack anyone who recognized Taiwan's sovereignty. He sounds real peace loving. And oh, by the way, anybody tries to be a friend or an ally of Taiwan, we will attack you, said China. We will attack any of their allies, anybody, including Taiwan or anyone that supports them. We want to make this a peaceful adaptation of Taiwan as part of China. And if anyone dares, he said, to split the Taiwan from China, the Chinese military will resoundingly safeguard China's national sovereignty and territorial integrity without any hesitation at all cost and not fearing any opponent. The defense ministry quoted Li as saying. The press statement from the ministry on Li's speech emphasized his remarks on Taiwan rather than his call for Chinese communist definition of peace. How to solve the Taiwan question is China's people's own business, which brooks no foreign interference. Li reportedly said the authorities of the Democratic Progressive Party seek independence by colluding with foreign forces and some external forces as Taiwan to contain China. They are the highest troublemakers in changing the status quo across the Taiwanian Strait. Now, the DPP is the ruling party of Taiwan, an anti-communist, pro-democracy party. Taiwan is sovereign, stable, wealthy nation off the coast of China with no history of having been ruled by Beijing and no political ties to China ever. Despite this, China falsely claims the country is a rogue providence and forces countries wishing to maintain diplomatic relations with the Chinese party, including America, to deny the reality of Taiwan's sovereignty. And Taiwan's never been under Chinese rule. Thanks to Chinese threats, only 13 countries in the world recognize Taiwan as a country. This is really pitiful to allow China to bully these people. The government of Taiwan responded to Li's speech by noting that the date it took place, June 4th, is the anniversary of the 1989 Tiananmen Square massacre, one of the bloodiest individual incidences in communist Chinese history. In response to this peaceful pro-democracy protest in Beijing Square in Tiananmen, largely led by college students, the Communist Party deployed its military to physically crush the college students in their protest, beat them publicly, kill them in front of the world. The true death toll of the massacre remains unknown to this day, but estimates say it was in the thousands. The Communist Party has heavily censored the massacre within China, effectively erasing it from history. Online, even mentions of the numbers 6 and 4, the date of the slaughter, are banned near the anniversary. To occupied areas such as Hong Kong, the incident is mentioned, but officials deny that it was a massacre at all. And communists in Hong Kong banned the traditional candlelight vigil for the victims of the massacre in the city following the wave of the pro-democracy protest of 2019. So on Tiananmen Square, Massacre Remembrance Day, Chinese generals threatened to use force against the people of Taiwan and to deprive us of our freedom and democracy, said the Taiwanese Foreign Minister Joseph Wu, said in a statement posted to social media following Li's speech. We stay free, we will stay resilient to remind the Chinese people that there is hope for Taiwan. Well, this is getting nastier by the minute. And I think the key fact here is that they're not a runaway province of China. I mean, China has said this so many times. They have spoken this lie so many times that it is becoming now the truth. I mean, and that's what they've done. They've done it for years. So this constant rhetoric of this is a breakaway providence, you belong to us, we have not forgot, you belong to us. Remember, you're coming back under control. But they never, in history, they've never been under Chinese control. So why would China just claim them? But then again, why does China claim the South China Sea? Why does China claim part of Japan's islands and part of the islands of Vietnam and Malaysia and Indonesia and Micronesia? I mean, and the Koreans, they just claim it. Are we just going to sit here and let them just claim what they want? Next thing they're going to claim is you, America. That's the next thing they're going to claim. That the United States of America is really nothing more than a runaway extension of China. What are you going to do about it? What is Biden doing about it? Is he even awake? Or is this possible? Is it kind of connected to the laptop? Has money flowed so that influence would drop, so that positioning of Taiwan, is Taiwan being sacrificed on the altar of freedom? Where are we in this situation? We'll continue to keep an eye on it. I will not back down on it because I know how important it is to freedom and to the people of Taiwan who do not deserve. And if we're going to be allies, if we're going to be NATO, if we're going to be allies, then be allies. Stand with those who stand with you. This is huge because if America gets this constant reputation that, well, they may not, it's over. It's over. And the beast kingdom is lurking. The beast, the New World Order, which has also got players within our own government itself, the global elitists. We know this. They're lurking. Oh, by the way, Iran has just revealed that they have their first hypersonic missile. They've dubbed it the Fatah, which means victory. It 3,800 miles an hour rocket poses a chilling threat to the West. Iran unveiled its first ever hypersonic ballistic missile today in a chilling threat to the West. Dubbed Fatah, this 3,800 mile an hour rocket was unveiled by Iran's elite Revolutionary Guard at the grand ceremony attended by President Ibrahim Rashi. Now, Iran claims that this new instrument of death can even the most high-tech air defenses by traveling 5 times the speed of sound. Iran state media said that Fatah, meaning victory, can target the enemy's advanced anti-missile systems and is a big generational leap in the field of missiles for Iran. It can bypass the most advanced anti-ballistic missile systems of the United States and Israel's Iron Dome. Iran state TV said it as a broadcast what happened to be a model of the missile. General Amir al-Hazara, commander of the Iran's Revolutionary Guard Aerospace Wing, claimed the rocket can maneuver in and out of the atmosphere. He warned it would have decades for Western air defenses to catch up. He also first revealed that the hypersonic missile in 400 seconds. 400 seconds. Despite these international sanctions that the United States has put on Iran, Tehran has been able to develop this sizable weapons industry capable of exporting military kit to allies like Russia, which it, of course, denies doing. But Iran's Revolutionary Guard already has a vast arsenal from the West. The concerns contributed to Donald Trump's decision of 2018 to ditch the Iranian 2015 nuclear deal that with the 6 major powers. It was signed by Barack Hussein Obama. Talks to restore the agreement have stalled. And last year, the United Nations Atomic Agency said that Tehran was not cooperating with the investigations into its nuclear program. Now, defense hawks have pointed to Iran's track record of exaggerating its weapon capabilities, but in June last year, an Iranian scientist who was developing the top secret missiles and drones mysteriously died after a dinner party. His death was the second in the same unit under the Revolutionary Guard in 2 weeks, as it appears they were poisoned to death. Well, I don't know if it was poisoned or not. I don't know. But I know one thing. Iran is trying desperately to get this hypersonic ballistic missile ready to go. And of course, when you say you could hit Jerusalem in less than 400 seconds, that gets people's attention. No doubt about that. So, guys, really, we're looking now at a situation where I've just mentioned Russia blowing up the dam in Ukraine, China threatening to attack Taiwan or any of its allies, and Iran threatening Israel and anyone else with hypersonic, supersonic, hypersonic ballistic missiles. This doesn't sound like a world that is even trying. This sounds like World War III. The only area that's also you got to think about is North Korea and their threats to Japan and South Korea and that part of the world. You have 4 hot spots. You have a serious war going on with Russia and Ukraine, which involves maybe all of NATO before it's all said and done. This could blow into a major regional war, okay? It really could. And then you have China every other day threatening everybody else that they want to stop the whole process here. They want to take over Taiwan, and then and that's not the end of what they want to do. And you have Israel threatened every day by the Iranians and their proxies like Hamas out of Gaza, Hezbollah out of southern Lebanon, Syria and Russia out of Syria, Iran, of course. And now Iran makes nice with Saudi Arabia. And maybe that's why Secretary of State Anthony Blinken is in Saudi Arabia right now. Matter of fact, let me find that. Check this out. So, Anthony Blinken headed to Saudi Arabia amid strained ties, and he wants to promote Israeli normalization with the Saudi Arabians. Maybe a little too late there, Anthony. Today, June 6th, which of course is D-Day, U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken travels to Saudi Arabia on a mission to steady Washington's relationship with Saudi Arabia after years of deepening disagreements on issues ranging from Iran and regional security to oil prices. Yesterday, the Saudi Arabians announced they were cutting oil production for the whole summer, meaning the price of gasoline and oil will continue to rise in this country. It shouldn't. We were independent. We were energy independent under the Trump administration. We didn't need to buy one drop of oil from the Saudis. But now we're beholden to them. Now we're hostage to them. This because of the policies like the cancellation of the Keystone Pipeline by Biden, and now the cancellation of the pipeline that was supposed to go through West Virginia that they even promised Senator Manchin that he could have for West Virginia. Biden canceled that one also. Plus, Biden's uses the power of the EPA to cripple some of these oil companies from starting new drilling sites because of the cost is outrageous with these new EPA regulations. So Blinken is now expected to meet with the top Saudi officials and possibly the kingdom's de facto ruler, Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, also known as MBS, during his time in the capital of Saudi Arabia. And he's also going to go to the coastal city of Jeddah in what will be Washington's second recent high-level visit. White House National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan is also traveling to Saudi Arabia again. And he had just been there on May 7th. So the top U.S. diplomats are going to be there for 3 days, June 6th through the 8th, to visit the world's largest oil exporter, days after Saudi Arabia pledged to further cut oil production and move lightly to add tension to a U.S.-Saudi relationship already strained by the kingdom's human rights record and disputes over American-Iranian policy. The aims of the trip include regaining influence with the Saudi Arabians over the oil prices, fending off Chinese and Russian influence in the region, and nurturing hopes for an eventual normalization of the Saudi-Israeli relationship. In other words, trying to get the Saudi Arabians to sign on to the Abraham Accords. Now, speaking at the pro-Israeli lobby group, the American Israel Public Affairs Committee on yesterday, Blinken said Washington had a real national security interest in advocating for the normalization of the diplomatic relations between Israel and the Saudi Arabians, but cautioned that it will not happen quickly. No, I guess effort to really happen, to be honest. And I just tell you, I think that there's a lot of smoke and mirrors here. There's a lot of just blah, blah, blah. There's a lot of, window dressing instead of actual strong-armed negotiations. The Trump administration would have never let it get to this point where we had to go hat in hand begging to the Saudis. It never would have happened, guys. You know it, I know it. It just never would have happened. This is where we're living. This is the area we've gotten to now. It's become very, very disturbing, to say the least. But it's not the only problem we got. For instance, let's talk about other areas of concern. One has got to be the orange haze over top of Manhattan. Have you guys seen this? Give me a moment to locate it. Here we go. There's a hazy sunrise. It's another hazy sunrise in Manhattan. Don't you know? Oh, yeah, it was. And what's causing it is the wildfires burning out of control in Canada. And I got my Canadian cup. Canada, I don't want you blamed for it, but your fires are blowing over into Manhattan. The smoke, an eerie orange haze illuminated the skies across the east this morning in Manhattan, in New York, as the wildfire smoke from Canada spreads across the east. Air quality alerts have been issued for a large swath of the Northeast. A fiery red sun rose in the sky, packed with smoke this morning. Let me see if I can get a picture of that, because it is. I've seen it. It's a very eerie looking. Give me a moment, see if I can pull this off. 1 second. It is really eerie. It really, really is eerie. And it's from the wildfires in Canada. Very interesting. Give me 1 second. I should have it here in just a moment if all works right. Let's see if it will show. Okay, this is weird. We're having issues. It's not weird that we're having issues. Whoa. I don't know why I got Iran and Saudi Arabia up there. Of course, we know that they're working closer together. Wow. Not going to do it for me. Not going to let me. Okay. If you guys don't want to do it, then fine. We won't do it. But it is a very strange, now I got the wrong, very strange haze that's over New York, over Manhattan, actually. Hello, Heidi.
Hello.
What's going on?
Well, looks like Lily's making herself known.
Present?
Yes.
Lily?
Lily.
Can't see her.
Can't see her. Can't see me either.
Because you got to get into the zone.
Whoa.
Got to get in the zone.
Lily paw.
Just a paw. I didn't see.
There's just one paw.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So.
Well, I came to you for advice and for help and all these things, but it looks like you're busy.
I'm live on the air doing my Tuesday show. Yeah. But I will be done in a few minutes and I'll be able to give you advice.
Okay. It's all about these catacombs.
Oh. So you got a question to me about the catacombs? Creepy catacombs. About your presentation?
Yes.
That's coming up Friday night?
Yes.
And you want my advice?
Yes.
Are you serious?
I'm serious.
Okay, well. Okay. Anything you can share now or no?
Oh, it's pretty creepy. Oh. Could be something about school children being eaten by giants.
No.
Could be.
No. Really?
Could be. We're going to go out here where we can be seen.
The orange haze over Manhattan, though, is bad. And it's the smoke, I guess, comes in from Canada. Photos and videos have flooded social media this morning. Look, this fiery red sun rose this morning, packed with smoke, wildfire smoke from more than 3,000 miles away in Canada. Turned the Manhattan sky orange and the sun orange this morning, a very weird looking orange sun. The Empire State Building, you could barely see it. The Vanderbilt and the Chrysler Building in New York City were engrossed and enclosed in this orange haze. While the smoke created jaw-dropping scenes across the Northeast today, it has also prompted a large swath of air quality alerts. And you start thinking about Mike from the World and his ash environment that he said one day people will have to have gas masks to go outside because of the ash environment that will be created around the globe, most of it from volcano eruptions that will be so frequent and so many that it'll turn our daytime into night, and it will also drop temperatures drastically because of the greenhouse effect. Now, smoke is made of gases and particles, the same pollutants which are responsible for poor air quality. As the smoke is forecasted to continue spreading across parts of the East Coast this week, an air quality alert has been issued for Delaware, New Jersey, New York, Connecticut, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Vermont, and New Hampshire. They're all going to be engulfed in this haze, the smoke haze from Canada. This alert means air pollution concentration in the region will be unhealthy for people with heart or lung disease, children, and even adults over 65. This alert warns these people to limit their time outdoors. Listen, exposure to this elevated levels of these particles, such as wood smoke, can increase the likelihood of respiratory symptoms in sensitive individuals and will aggravate heart or lung disease, according to the National Weather Service alert. And as of this morning, the air quality in New York City was listed as unhealthy. It is expected to remain unhealthy through Friday, according to AccuWeather rated asthma conditions as high, very high, if you have asthma, meaning the weather conditions can irritate the airways and cause an increased risk of an asthmatic symptoms. Also, forecasters say that the wildfire season in Canada got off to a devastating early start as the early June. And I can say here in northern Indiana, here I'm sitting in the cornfields of Indiana, that I have never seen an early June this dry here in Indiana. The cornfields, the corn is not growing. It's usually much higher by this time. My grass here in my home here in Indiana is completely brown and dead, burned. I was out this morning watering my flowers because I seen that they were suffering. They needed water, and they're going to have to be watered every morning, apparently, because where are the rains? And usually it gets hot like that here in Indiana, generally in July. The first couple weeks of July, we see the grass maybe turn a little brown. That's about it, extent of it. Most of the time, Indiana has plenty of rain flowing through it, snow and rain and precipitation, very, very consistent, making everything grow very nice. But this is strange. Now, my roses in my front yard here and around my house, they look spectacular because they like this warmer weather. They're actually looking great. They don't like the too cold weather. They don't like too much rain. So they're doing great. But the rest of the flowers needed some help. So intense wildfires have been burning in Alberta, Canada for more than a month now, depending on the weather conditions. The smoke from these wildfires can be transported on a very large distance in different directions and at different altitudes. According to they're in Denver, Colorado, impacted by smoke from the Canadian wildfires 2 weeks ago. Now it's in the Northeast. It is hovering. And I tell you, it's sitting there. And if the wind don't blow, and if there isn't some kind of front come through to push it out, it's going to be a really bad 3-4 days in the Northeast of this heavy haze. No doubt about it. Guys, let me tell you about the earthquake report real quick here, because we do have quite a bit of activity as far as earthquakes are concerned. We have just had a 4.7 earthquake hit Japan, and moments ago, a 4.7 hit Alaska, and a 4.7 hit the Molucca Sea. 3 straight 4.7 earthquakes in 3 different spots of the world. But overall, in the last 24 hours, there's been some activity in earthquakes. 4.2 Peru, 4.4 the Northern Mariana Islands, 4.2 Mexico, 4.4. Chile, New Mexico had a 3.1. We also seen a 2.6 in the Ceres Valley in California. Also, there was a 4.8 in Indonesia, a 4.9 in Haiti, a 4.5 in Tonga, 4.7, as I said, in the Molucca Sea, 4.7 Alaska, and 4.7 Japan. So, and then there's a lot of quakes in the threes, okay? Especially Alaska's got a lot of activity, and Southern California, a lot of activity. And that's where the most activity right now in the world, that there are earthquakes taking place. So we'll keep a close eye on what's going on there. We don't want any major earthquakes. With what happened to Turkey earlier this year, over 50,000 people killed. I mean, this is catastrophic. No question about it. It is absolutely catastrophic. Guys, also, I want to share with you something, and that is this weekend, starting this supernatural intelligence webinar. I hope you've got your ticket. If you haven't, you need to get them now. Get them today. Get out ahead of this thing. We'll be sending out the links to your emails on Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern. We want you to have it. I want you to be all over it. And you're going to get an incredible information. Shocking. It's some of the best ever, really. And we touch on a lot of subjects, from AI technology to government programs that are reading your brain and trying to alter your subconsciousness and your consciousness, to the AI, of course, dangers. Really get in depth with that when you find out what Josh Peck has to say. The demonic activity that's, I believe, being involved in the AI technology as well, but also the demonic activity going on. We talk about exorcisms and how to deal with them and deliverance. We talk about the Skinwalker Ranch, Skinwalkers, the medicine men of the Navajo tribes and the Navajo Nation. We have an actual firsthand account of a man who's seen Skinwalkers. He has visited many medicine men. His family used to go to it all the time, sort of like the prophet Testing 1, 2. Am I back? Let's see if I'm back. Can you hear? Can we hear? What? Give us 1 second here. It says it should be on. It's back. Okay, thank you, Larry. Appreciate that. Yeah, so Larry Ragland and I even talk about this. Bishop Larry Ragland on The Big Picture. His show comes on in an hour. Comes on at 2 p.m. Eastern. Don't miss The Big Picture with Larry Ragland. He interviews me, and we do talk about some of the things that are going to be going on at the conference. Of course, he has a tremendous presentation. So let me share this with you one more time. But the United States intelligence officials have found a craft of a non-human origin. But the information was illegally withheld from Congress, according to the whistleblower. David Charles Grush, age 36, previously worked for the National Geoparticle Intelligence Agency and the National Reconnaissance Office. He was also the NRO's representative to the Unidentified Aerial Phenomena Task Force and worked at the NGA's representative to the task force until July of 2022. Grouch has given classified information to Congress and to the intelligence community Inspector General. The information is said to be about a covert program that he claims retrieved a non-human vehicle, a spacecraft, okay, that was of a non-human origin. Now, a number of other intelligence officials, some retired and some active, have corroborated his claims, according to reports. Grouse has also filed a complaint alleging illegal retaliation against him after he disclosed the covert information. We are not talking about prosaic origins or entities. The material includes intact and partially intact vehicles, which are not from this world. Grouch, an intelligence officer for more than 14 years, claimed that the government agencies and defense contractors have been recovering both fragments of vehicles and intact crafts for a number of decades. He said they have been deemed to be of exotic origin or non-human intelligence. Now, whether extraterrestrial or unknown origin, he doesn't know. But based on the vehicle's material and the science testing and the possession of the unique atomic arrangements and the radiology signatures, some insiders have now come forward for the first time sharing knowledge of this alleged craft recovery program. Jonathan Gray, who works for the National Air and Space Intelligence Center, told the report that the non-human intelligence phenomenon is real. We are not alone. What? We are not alone. Well, I knew that. We've been dealing with extra dimensional beings for a long time, folks. Whether they be angelic or be fallen angel or demonic entities, we've been dealing with entity. We're not alone. Yes, that is true. This is a global phenomenon, he said, and yet a global solution continues to elude us. Now, Carl Neal, a retired Army colonel who worked with Grosh on the Unidentified Aerial Phenomenon Task Force, and his assertions were fundamentally correct. Grosh gave hundreds of pages of worth of classified information to Congress. What? Oh, man. I bet you right now Ted Cruz and Rand Paul and some of these guys are eating this stuff up, reading this, regarding the recovery programs of these spacecraft. Although lawmakers have not been given any physical material relating to these non-human craft, they were given the classified documents by this guy. Okay? So, here we go. This is why we have to talk about supernatural intelligence. We have to find out, could these crafts be built and made by fallen angel technology? I mean, think about it. In the Bible, Ezekiel saw a wheel inside of a wheel. This was a God craft. They saw chariots of fire come down out of heaven and take Elijah away in a whirlwind of fire. That would have been angelic vehicle. So could there be fallen angel vehicles or spacecrafts? Could there be these things that people that, you know, again, everybody wants to go away from the biblical narrative. But if we just study the Bible, the answer to these questions are here. Of course, Lucifer can transform himself into the angel of light. If he can transform himself to look like an angel of light, certainly he can transform himself to look like a little gray or a tall white or some green big-eyed monster or can fly around in some kind of fallen angel craft. I have no doubt about that. Thank you, Geneva. This is a great video, Pastor Paul. Thank you. Maybe that's why I'm being censored, because I'm really bringing some powerful information. And I'm just barely scratching the surface from what we revealed in the webinar, because I can't tell you what we revealed in the webinar, because if I did, I know they would shut it off. I know they would. So this is what's going on. Yesterday, I told you about the subterranean skeletons of less than 5 feet who had carvings and scratches and different things on the wall, believed to be another race of people of some sort. They had smaller brains than us, but they were certainly a race of people, because we found 1,500 bones. We found several intact skeletons. So we know that, and they lived underground in a subterranean level. What were they? And I even had to bring up the fact that, that Cain, when he left Eden, he went east of Eden and he went to the land of Nod, where he found his wife and married her. Who was she? And who made those people? So if God, and who made all of us? I mean, how did we get white people and brown people and black people and red people and yellow people? I mean, I'm just using some of the colors that we've said, but I mean, Asians and Africans and Norwegians and, Latinos. And where did we get all these different, how did this happen? Well, it looks like God created Adam and Eve and he let them start to multiply, but he also must have formed some others out there, because we find all these ancient cultures and civilizations and the emerald tablets and the Pkwy writings and the hieroglyphics of the Egyptians and the Sumerian texts and the Dead Sea Scrolls, and we can go on and on and on. So there's something going on here. I think the Bible says that which was done in secret will be shouted from the housetop. And Mike from around the world keeps talking about these entities living underground. Are there more? Have we found more since we found these skeletons? But is there more? Are there civilizations living underground? And are they human? Or are they from the fallen angels? Are they the children of the Nephilim? I don't know the answers, but these are some of the questions that we want to talk about this weekend and next weekend on the webinars. Get the bundle ticket today. Please do that. Get your bundle ticket today, all right? And be ready for this webinar. I think you're going to be stunned at the great info. I know you're going to be stunned. I just know you will. At the great info that comes out in this webinar. And you know what? I think people, I like to say this. I'm not afraid to tackle any of these questions, because actually you'll find the answers in the Bible. And maybe it's not as cut and dry as we say. I mean, in the Bible, who are the Nephilim and Rephaim? Who are these tribes that had to be exterminated if Israel was going to take over the Holy Land? And why? And Heidi's going to shock you with the catacombs. She's going to blow your mind. Oh, you're going to see the catacombs. You're going to blow, your mind is going to be blown. And you'll say, how in the world, and what is this, and where is this, and why is this? And all of it is all part of the disclosure, or the end days. I think part of the disclosure is Satan disclosing that he's building a demon kingdom, a new world order, a beast kingdom we find in the book of Revelation. See, it all is in the Bible. We've just, like Apollyon coming out of the earth, coming out of the bottomless pit. Are you serious? And when he's let loose, there's demons of smoke and locusts and entities get turned loose that are still captive. There's 4 fallen angels specifically bound under the river Euphrates. It tells you that in this holy book. You can't just blow past that and say, well, no, it's there. We know they're there. And we know that if they're there, there's others. But what is the truth?